Robert in Vegas. You there, Robert?
Yeah, I'm right here, Ben. I get the point. So anyway, John Sally is like you. He's a passionate vegan.
Okay. Well, I'm not a vegan. I can't say I'm a vegan.
Okay. Well, he is, and he was saying that a lot of people who eat meat use the defense, you eat meat to get your protein. He says, well, what about the primates, gorillas and apes and such? They are as strong as 10 men, yet they live on plants.
That's called a straw man. That's called a straw man. When you make a fake argument and then knock it down, that's not true. There's the reason veganism, the problem with veganism, and the reason why eating animal-based foods, and I'm not including meat in that, is so important is because of growth factors. There are elements in eggs and in dairy, which are not vegan-friendly foods, obviously, called growth factors. They're only found in egg and dairy. They're not found in any other foods. So if you're vegan, you're missing out on those. Secondly, there are substances like vitamin B12 and building proteins that are found in higher concentrations in animal protein. You can get away with being a vegan, but you just got to be much more careful. And as far as the primate argument goes, these primates have to eat all day long. That's how they do it. They don't do it like us where they eat periodically throughout the day. They got to eat calories all day long in order to get the nutrients that they need. Animal protein is a very dense source of nutrients in addition to the growth factors, which are extremely important, and I don't want to marginalize those because they're very, very important, and no vegans ever talk about those. Nobody ever really talks about them. So you're not going to get those, number one. You're not going to get the super high concentrations, the density that you get of protein that you get when you do dairy and egg, as well as meat and fish to a certain extent, so you got to eat a lot more calories. And as far as those primates go, yes, it's true, they're big and strong, but they spend their entire day eating, which we can't do. So between all of that, the veganism argument is just silly to me. However, the one place where veganism is not silly, and where you have to take it seriously, is in the ethical nature of eating animals. You know, I know we live on planet Earth and there's a food chain and everything eats everything else, but it's just troubling to have to kill something to eat it, and then to eat it. I can see how people don't want to do it, but to try to make a scientific argument for it, it's not fair. It's dishonest. The fact of the matter is, and by the way, sometimes there's a guy named Thomas Campbell, I think his name is. He wrote I forgot the name of his book, The China Diet. He wrote a few books like this, and what they do is what vegans and vegetarians do is they'll point to the fact that people eat meat and get cancer, or people eat meat or dairy and they get sick. What they're not telling you is that the meat is overcooked, or the dairy is from hormones and cows that have been given hormones and antibiotics. So they're skewing the results. It's not really fair. Just if you take good clean meat, a wild meat, for example, that you hunted, wild game that's eating grass and that's in its natural environment, or fish the same way, you can't compare. There's no vegan food that can even come close, that can even touch the nutrient density of that kind of food. Is going vegan a good idea if you're stuck eating the way we eat in this country, where you eat crappy dairy and crappy eggs, and eggs from chickens that have been fed hormones and antibiotics? You know what I'm saying? How we process our animal food? Yes, that's a problem. Sure. But to try to apply that problem to just the basic facts of what's in meat and what's in dairy, there's no way vegetables can even touch the nutrient density that's in animal foods. And by the way, as an aside, which we've talked about before, but for new listeners, there's no toxic meat, but there's lots of toxic plants. And there's lots of plants that people will react to that contain substances called lectins that can initiate arthritis and immune problems and digestive problems, etc. But there's no toxic meat. So that's just as an aside. That's not based on, that has nothing to do with what we were just talking about. But the idea that somehow veganism and vegetarianism is all clean and lovely and benign and light, and meat is evil and dark, and animal foods are somehow satanic, that doesn't wash, and I don't buy that. So you can get by as a vegan, but you're going to miss out on a lot of stuff. It's going to be harder to get everything you need. Does that help, Robert?
It absolutely does. You just killed his argument. Dang. I had no idea.
Okay, good deal.
Well, and by the way, sorry, I didn't know you weren't a vegan. The way you talked, I assumed you were. But so you eat meat, but just not a lot of it. I don't eat a lot of meat. Not a lot at all. But I do eat fish and I do eat eggs, and I do like the wonderful cheese, Jordan Rubin's wonderful cheese, by the way. Gotcha. Makes perfect sense. Okay, thanks, bud. Okay. Take care, Robert. Have a good day, man. Thanks for calling. Thanks for the kind words too. Appreciate it.